Well, I've been involved with protecting seals pretty well all my life because I was raised on the east coast of Canada where the seal hunt takes place. It's something that I'd always wanted to do something about. And I first became actively involved in 1975 when there was an opportunity to organize an expedition to go out there and try and do something about it. And I've been involved ever since. Every March, commercial sealing industry takes place off the coast of Labrador and in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Each year they take about 180,000 newborn harp seal pups. They're clubbed indiscriminately, taken in front of their mothers. Only the pelts are taken, the rest of the carcass is left on the ice. It's a very inhumane slaughter. They use hack-a-picks clubs, and in many cases, because they're in a hurry to get as many seals as possible, they don't even bother to club the seals, and I've actually seen them skin a seal without clubbing them first. They are, in fact, taking too many seals. And they say, well, they know what they're doing. Well, that's what they told naturalists in the 1800s when they expressed concern about the buffalo, when they expressed concern about the passenger pigeon. There says there are millions of them. The passenger pigeon went extinct and the buffalo were reduced to less than 100 individuals by the turn of the century. And the same thing can happen with the seals. The population in '46 was 6 million. They've been reduced by 5 million in that short period of time. The rate of kill has not decreased. The seals can no longer last more than 7 or 8 years. The seal hunt has been around Newfoundland for about 250 years. It used to be sort of a mainstay of the Newfoundland economy. It no longer is so. It only employs about 150 people or men on these commercial sealers. And they get an average of about $300 a year. They're only working for 2 to 3 weeks a year. And, in fact, what's happening is that the Canadian people have to subsidize this hunt. It costs about $2 million more to regulate and control the hunt than the hunt actually makes. So, in fact, it's a glorified welfare scheme. Well, the first expedition that I took to the ice was in 1975, and it was our intention at that time to spray the seals with an indelible organic dye that would destroy the commercial value of the pelt without hurting the seal. 5 days before we arrived there to do this, that was declared an illegal tactic by the authorities, and we were prevented from doing it, even though we had gotten the idea from fishery scientists who had been doing it for 20 years. But what we had to do was to go to the ice and interfere as best we could. We did block the sealing ships in the ice. On one occasion when we did that, the sealing ship Arctic Endeavour kept coming at us and, in fact, broke the ice up underneath of our feet. We obstructed the sealers with our own bodies and physically protected as many seals as we could. In an attempt to stop one of the ships, I had handcuffed myself to a winch line so that the ship wouldn't proceed and would be slowed down and wouldn't be able to get its quota. What happened there was that the sealers decided that they were going to deal with me, and they gave the order to pull the winch line in. I was dragged across the ice, through the water, up the side of the ship, and dropped 3 times back into the water. I spent about 10 minutes in the water altogether, and I was losing all sensation in my hands and feet. It was frozen salt water. It was sort of a slush that I was in, and this was about 180 miles out at sea.
Take him directly to the sick bay.
I think that it's absolutely deplorable that the Canadian taxpayers are funding a blood sport like the seal hunt. For instance, there's no market for the pelts. There's warehouses in the Magdalen Islands and in Newfoundland that have pelts that were taken 3-4 years ago, and there's just no market for it. There's no question that the seal hunt is inhumane. I've seen seals that have been skinned before they've been clubbed. I've seen mother seals remain with the carcasses of their pups for up to 3 days without abandoning them, trying to nurse the carcasses. People are becoming educated that to buy a sealskin coat is to invest in misery. It's to invest in the extinction of a species. In 1979, we took the Sea Shepherd on her first expedition through the Cabot Straits and through 200 miles of ice floes to the scene of the seal hunt, crashing through the ice without the assistance of icebreakers, which the sealing ships do have. The sealers said that we could never make it there without icebreakers, but we did make it there, and we succeeded in reaching over 1,000 seals, applying a dye to their coats, making them commercially valueless, and in fact saved those 1,000 seals in that manner. But we were arrested and charged under the Seal Protection Act for dyeing seals, for being on the ice without permission of the minister, and a few other accounts. They stalled on trying us until February of 1980, and then at which time we were fined a total of, the Fund for Animals was fined a total of $20,000 for the 8 crew members that were arrested. And with myself, I was sentenced to a 2-week jail term, which begins on March 3rd, which is at the time of the seal hunt. So it was their intention to put me in jail to prevent me from going to the seal hunt. So all we can do is hopefully that next year we'll be able to get out there and once again obstruct the hunt. And I suggest that people write to the Canadian government, to the Prime Minister of Canada, and just make it known that they just do not want that seal hunt to continue. Or otherwise the seals will go the same way as the buffalo and the passenger pigeon and the dodo.